I am Bonnie Hiltz, and I chose to focus on India. India is in South Asia, and the land varies from desert to jungle to glaciers, and the people are just as diverse as the land. Every racial group and religious group have either lived in India or invaded them at some time in history and really left their influence on the country. There are 15 separate languages and 700 different dialects spoken there. And most of the immigrants that have come here to America are from the upper socioeconomic classes. They were somewhat acculturated at the time of arrival, so they spoke English, they're familiar with our customs. Education is very important to the Asian Indians, and because of that well-educated population, most of them continued their professions here as either engineers or physicians, scientists. Some of them are small business owners or franchise owners. And when we talk about religion and family structure, the caste categories are hereditary, and a lot of them still associate with our caste or proudly identify with them. Most of the American Asian Indians are from the upper castes, and traditionally only the members of the same caste would eat together, and untouched leftovers were given to the untouchables, which are below the lowest class. Religion is ahimsa, or a reverence for life, and there are very diverse religions in India. The most commonly practiced is Hinduism, which is nearly 85% of Indians. It's the oldest religion, and the goal is for the soul to be liberated and to make humans one with the universal spirit. Islam is the second most practiced. Buddhism was developed as a result of Hinduism, but there's also Sikhism and Christianity and Judaism and animism. In terms of family, the traditional family, the father is the head of the household. The wife does not work, and she's expected to perform all duties related to the household and raising the children. In children, the parents would choose their career and arrange the marriage. Here in the U.S., the family's more nuclear. Women are more likely to work. Children who grow up here choose their own career. Dating is more accepted, although many of them still go to their parents for opinions for a suitable spouse. And family is seen as a way to preserve Indian values and beliefs while living in the U.S. Traditional medicine has a long history. Ayurveda is the most important system developed. The purpose is to ensure a long and active life so that the wisdom of the elders can be passed down to future generations. It uses diet and herbal remedies and meditation to restore equilibrium between the sick person and the universe. But there's also Unani or Unani Tib therapies in the north, Siddha in the south, which also focus on balance, use of shamans in some rural regions, and home remedies and herbal infusions are prevalent. In fact, there's a widespread use of antibiotics and mixing of therapeutics because a lot of medicines are over the counter in India that here in America would be only prescribed. So traditional food habits, foods would vary from north to south and among different religions and castes. Rice is the most common grain in the south, and wheat is the most common in the north. Legumes are consumed by all, so you'll see a lot of dal and lentils. Dairy is significant, mainly in yogurt and ghee, which is clarified butter. Seasonings are distinct, of course. There's turmeric and black pepper and cumin, cloves, cardamom, and ajwain, which I happen to have here. It's very aromatic. And then also chili peppers and saffron. You'll see a lot of curries in the south and more things like korma and masala in the north, skewered kebabs and kofta. In the south, the seasoned yogurt dish is called pachadi, and in the north it's called raita. And all the meals are served at, everything's served at once on thali, which is a big silver platter, and a little bit of everything is served there. And a meal is not a meal unless there's rice on the table, if it's the south, and bread on the table, if it's the north. Everything else is a snack. It's called tiffin, even if it's just coffee or tea or a really substantial snack that doesn't have rice or bread. And water is most often consumed, but we know India has given us a lot of beautiful tea, chai, and darjeeling, and all kinds of other delicious drinks. Meal composition is generally 2 meals a day, with dinner being the most prevalent meal, breakfast being a little bit smaller, things like rice or roti with a pickled fruit or vegetable, and dal. And in terms of vegetarianism, contrary to Western belief, a minority of 25 to 30% of Indians are actually vegetarians. Meat is expensive. It's just not eaten every day. In fact, Indians obtain 92% of their caloric intake from vegetables and only 8% from animal products, be that meat, dairy, or eggs. So the role of food in society and special occasions. Hinduism considers eating an integral part of each person's spiritual journey. And diets really vary based on religion and caste. So for instance, the Brahmins were generally vegetarians, and Muslims avoid all pork, but they're not vegetarians. Other than religion, the role of women in food is noted. She imparts a special sweetness to the food, so women really generally prepare the food. And another thing I found interesting was at weddings, they bring back the Hindu way of eating all 6 tastes, which is pretty cool. And hospitality is really highly valued as well. Concept of feast and fasting has a role as well, based on group to group or religion to religion. Now, therapeutic uses of food is my favorite section, and I could go forever on it. But generally, Ayurveda, the roots go back 50,000 years to shamanism. It's called the mother of all healing, and we really seek to treat the whole person. And the short version is the idea is balancing doshas or dysfunctions and elements through the application of the opposites. And it's attentive to the seasons, to the time of day, to the constitution, to what we eat. Hot and cold classifications fall here as well, and balance and preparation and combination. There are also a lot of dietary remedies in India, just like many cultures, like ginger tea or garlic soup if you have a head cold. Now, quickly regarding nutritional status, type 2 diabetes and heart disease are the most prevalent. Western diets are higher in carbs and hypercaloric, which may result in weight gain, though obesity rates are low. Fat intake is similar to Americans. So body mass index and visceral fat are increased in Asian Indians, which is associated with the higher rates of insulin resistance, which is associated with type 2 diabetes. Metabolic syndrome seems to be the highest risk in this group. Most prevalent cancers are lung, prostate, breast cancer. Oral cancers are common too because of the pan, the betel leaves that are wrapped with nuts and herbs and sealed with a clove and sometimes have tobacco in them. And Asian women are also more likely to have adverse birth outcomes, preterm delivery, low birth weight, gestational diabetes, and the like. Now, contemporary food habits in the United States. Most Indian Americans accept American food when they eat out, and then they're Indian at home. Some vegetarians become meat eaters due to the culturation patterns. And the United States has many markets that specialize in Indian food, packaged and canned, and Indian bakeries and tiffin items are more available. In fact, I found a bunch of them at Rana Market when I was shopping for my dish. So traditional foods are really available, which is great. Meal patterns may be a little more irregular because of a faster paced lifestyle, and portion sizes get a little larger, but rice remains the core item of the dinner. So what's really great is the influence of this group on our diet. It's noteworthy. Just go to the market, any market. It doesn't even have to be specialty, and you see just chutney and pickles and sauces and frozen samosas. The influence of yoga has done a lot for our group. It's adapted a lot maybe, but it's been great for us, and we really love it as a culture. Bollywood films, Bhangra music being used in modern music, which I'm playing right now. Celebrities like Deepak Chopra and Hasan Minhaj, Mindy Kaling, Padma Lakshmi. I'm just really grateful for the Indian influence in my life. I studied Indian belly dance. We did a lot of henna when I was younger and wore bindis, and I love everything about it. So this has really been a joy. Thank you. One of the dishes I'll be making is a basmati rice with dried roasted spices. You'll see the rice here in the center, surrounded by salt, black peppercorns, whole cloves, cumin seeds, and green cardamom. So the reason we're roasting or toasting these spices is that it enhances the flavor. About a tablespoon of ghee to 1.5 cups of basmati rice. For our next dish here, we're going to be doing an oven roasted eggplant, and we're using a lot of traditional Indian spices in this dish as well. So I've actually toasted some cumin seeds and coarsely ground them in my mortar and pestle here. We have turmeric, we have salt, and we have cayenne pepper. Okay, so we've tossed the eggplant with olive oil and salt, and we're going to roast that in the oven at 450 for about 10 minutes. While that's cooking, we are sauteing our onion along with the garlic. And we added the chili peppers to the last minute of the saute, and once the eggplant was done roasting, we add it to the onion mixture. And when we're ready to serve it, we'll just go ahead and toss it with the green onions and the cilantro. चले चल छैया छैया पाँव जनित चले चल छैया चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 छैया